Hey everybody, welcome. It's Gerald the Urban Alchemist here. I'm going to record this video all over again. I started earlier and then technical difficulties. Thank you all for your patience. But today I want to talk to you all about co-creating with the universe. This is a topic I definitely talked about before, but I have a new take on it. I understand a little more, so y'all, sometimes when you get on your journey, things start shifting and changing, and there's this phenomenon that we've mentioned before called dark night of the soul. Y'all, that's just a way that we've come up to relate the experience of dramatic shifts and what it takes to get you to a new level of consciousness. It's not a real thing, so to speak. It's a concept. It's an idea. And it sounds so freaking dramatic, like dark night of the soul. It's not that deep, you all. What it is it's restructuring your life so that you can co-create with the universe. It is basically alchemy, you know? Alchemy is all about taking initial substance, breaking it down, restructuring it, putting it back together so that its essence can come through and, you know, the more corruptible aspects are taken out. It's bringing out the incorruptible soul, you all. And so a lot of times when we experience a shift in life, it's hard to let go of attachments, things that tie us to the past. So it can feel uncomfortable, but the discomfort really comes from your unwillingness to let go, your resistance, your unwillingness to surrender. And a lot of times we cling to these things that we think we need in order to feel a sense of security or safety, but ultimately they'll fall away. So when you let go of a job, when you let go of friends, when you let go of family, when you let go of aspects of yourself, your history, your story, it can be uncomfortable if you're resistant. But ultimately, you can't co-create if you are stuck with those things. Like, they have to fall away. And that's one thing I've started to realize in my life. Like, with just a lot of the old hang-ups, money, jobs, friends, whatever, you have to be willing to let that go because you won't be free enough to work with the universe. You know, the goal is when God, spirit, universe, however you identify that, you know, higher self, that higher presence, when it sends you messages, you have to be able to act on it. You have to be able to follow through, and that restructuring occurs so that you can do that. If I had certain attachments, you know, the most obvious one, the job that I used to have. If I had that job, I wouldn't be free to just act whenever I get an idea or to respond when people, you know, I would be clinging to that. I'd be letting them dictate my life. And then I wouldn't be a clear channel for whatever guidance, wisdom, whatever comes through. And so, you know, I had to let that go, you know, and that applies to many other things. You know, as you raise your consciousness, your vibration and everything, you're going to get stronger and stronger callings and messages, and you need to be able to co-create. You need to be able to act when it happens. So that's what's really going on. It can be dark if you allow it to be. It can be light if you allow it to be. But ultimately, as you step into your power, you need the freedom to be able to respond accordingly and to let things happen through you, to be that channel. If you have attachments, if you're tied to the past, if you had limiting beliefs, those are going to just hold you back. And they're going to be obstacles. They're not going to assist in you achieving these things. They're going to be obstacles. So they will eventually fall away. The universe has a way of making that transformation occur. So on the other side of all those obstacles, those limiting beliefs that you had to remove or whatever, I can definitely say that there is freedom and there's clarity and there's the ability to act in accordance with and in response to the universe and your mission. Pretty powerful stuff. It is an alchemical process. It's a transformative process. It's bringing out your divine self, your divine spark. It's you're fixing that, and you're freeing up of yourself, allowing it to do those things, frees up other people, and it radiates like a certain divinity and healing among all those that you interact with as you act in your divine will. So it's pretty cool stuff. Also, as you start to co-create with the universe, spirit, your higher self, you start to access your own divinity, and you start to understand that you, the actual you, the true you, is not this vessel. It's not your story. It's not your past. It's not your roles. It's not those ego things so much. You, the actual you, is much greater. It's this whole divine self, this formless being. Is this God spark within you. That's the true you. And the less you deal within the parameters and the confines of what society has labeled you as, the role that you play in your family, among your friends, your job, whatever, the more you start to see through the little illusions which life has constructed, or not life, but like society and circumstances in life has constructed around you. You start to connect more with your divine self, which is timeless. It's formless. It's much greater. And when you do that, you have more will that you can exert into your surroundings. You can create more change. You're operating out of your divine self, which is an alchemist. It is a magician. And it's much more powerful than what we're taught. So every time that you like act out of spirit and you connect more with your heart, you gain more divinity. And you get more knowledge of your divine self. So you're able to really co-create, like for real, for real. That's what the magician card is in tarot. Those people, there are tarot readers out there. The magician is somebody who, through his knowledge of self and his connection to the divine, he's able to manifest things, manipulate, create things out of, almost pull them out of thin air, you know, pull rabbits out of hats. Because he's connected to his divine self, and he's able to use the tools around him to create what he wants. He knows his tools, he knows his resources, he's resourceful, creative, and connected. So that's what you become, you all. And like for those of you that practice magic, every magical operation that you do, it's like you connect more with your divine self. We think that we're doing magic to like get the things we want out of life, or create whatever we want for our own like practical reasons. You know, I want more money, I want this, I want that, beauty, fame, whatever. But what's really happening, and this was kind of the goal of the alchemists of old, every time you perform an operation, you're doing work internally as well, and you're learning more about your true nature, the divine self. Every time you have a successful operation, you lift a veil, a limiting belief, and you recognize more of like the unity of everything and your own divine will. So that's what the magic truly is, y'all. That's what the alchemy is. It's stepping into your divine role and seeing more through the illusions of life. So when you get on this path, you all prepare for the shifts that will occur. Prepare to be transformed. There's a transformation that occurs. Prepare for alchemy. And surrender more. Like just surrender, because spirit will operate through you. And then you'll begin to see more through the illusions that are placed in front of us. It may be uncomfortable if you have attachments and you're also resistant to that process, but it ultimately will take place. So it's better to just surrender it and start to pull back the veils as much as possible. Don't wait for them to be lifted. You got to pull them back, because that's what's happening, you know. And what appears to be tumultuous or negative or chaotic from our limited perspective, if you take a broader perspective, if you're able to step outside of your ego self and yourself in this world, you know, as a role in society and like all these limiting things, you can see the divine plan, which is everything is working out towards that. So don't freak, you all. Don't panic. If you're being called to do something, understand it's for your greater good and find a way to see the good in it. If you have to let go of friends, let go of family, let go of jobs, let go of relationships, let go of roles, titles, let go of identities, let it go, because it's for a much greater good. And when you get down the road, if you can step out of your current circumstances, you'll understand the divine plan. So that's what I have for you guys. Definitely comment below, like, share, and subscribe. I love hearing your responses and your experiences with the topics that we mentioned. So thank you all so much for that. If you have not liked or followed The Urban Alchemist on Facebook, you can find it by searching at The Urban Alchemist 369, and my logo will appear, which is a blue 7-pointed star. Like the page. I do have a tarot group under the service tab, under the groups tab. It's called Unlocking Tarot. Join that if you're not a member. And then if you'd like to receive a consultation or a reading from me, you can book that through my Facebook page, The Urban Alchemist, under services. And I will happily schedule you for a reading. You can also email me at Gerald, Gerald, at theurbanalchemist.net. Have a wonderful day, everybody.